they never believe me. Yeah, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitted for it. Hold up, I shoot my shot. Wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's on that when it go up. Ain't got we on overtime. You don't need to understand, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing, keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous, cause it can get dangerous. Please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat this submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk like the show. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime, you don't need to understand. Ay, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing, keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous, cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous.
Okay. Man, right on time. Now I'm running a little late, man. But salute everybody in the building. It is that getting to that time. Let's try to put up one more time. I'm definitely in a great, excited mental space. Boxing is great, man. Waiting on this card to come together, and so happy at this point. So happy, boxing family, to see everybody's healthy. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. No mishaps. All the fights seem to be going down. We're going to cover them here. Today, we're going to really dial in on the Brian Norman Devin Haney fight, of course. We're going to speak on an underrated fight on the card. Dare I say it, because I don't think it's possible to have an underrated fight on this card, right? But Bam Rodriguez and Puma Martinez showing up at this press conference today. And just when you really look at that fight for what it is, you can't help but be excited to see that fight, man. Bam Rodriguez gets an opportunity to put another belt, Unify. He's one of two ring champions on the card, right? I mean, Devin Haney's an ex-ring champion because now he's at 147 with his own, right, food to eat. He got to figure it out. And we got to talk about Devin Haney. We got to talk about the mental space, the psychology of boxing. Where is Devin Haney? Where is the Haney team, period? Clearly, clearly the Haneys are understanding the magnitude of this moment. And we're going to talk about it today in depth because this is what it's all about, right? Pressure makes bust pipes, or pressure builds diamonds, right? That's the reality of that concept and of this moment for the Haneys. And of course, the Normans on the big stage, the Road Warriors, just coming from Japan. They travel everywhere, right? They're almost kind of used to this, but still, this is the big stage. But yet and still, Riyadh season still seems to provide such an intimate opportunity. It's the big stage without the big crowd. It's the big stage without 70,000 people, but it still delivers on the intensity is still there, but so much more intimate. So much more intimate. And Riyadh season does this, right? All the fighters in the world who fight on Riyadh season, who fight for Ring Magazine, who fight for Turkey Al-Sheikh, know that they're fighting on the biggest stage in the world, no matter how you want to dismiss it or make it smaller. They understand the reality. They understand the prize on the other side of a victory, or at least on a fight of the year candidate performance. They know what comes with that. Abdullah Mason embraces the moment, right? Sam Noakes has to live in that moment. They know, take your time, but don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. And none of the fighters on this card are doing that, right? David Benavidez seems to be potentially, I don't know, on the surface of it, it just looks like he may be in the best shape of his life, but then rumors are circulating about, potentially David Benavidez may be having an issue with the weight cut, and we're back at the weight cut conversation. So we're going to talk about that as well, right? Because we're just coming off a weekend of boxing with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., and the weight cut was on the table as far as part of the conversation, as far as the performance that we saw from Chris Eubank Jr. Well, here we are again, and this is boxing, of course, and a good friend of mine once said that if you're not in the heavyweight division, then everybody's a weight bully, right? Everybody's cutting weight, and this is part of the sport. It is what it is. There's the fight inside the ring, of course, that we all anticipate seeing, but there's always a fight outside the ring. There's always the fight outside the ring, which is the training. What happened during the training camp? So if David Benavidez is struggling with the weight cut, is this the fighter he wants to struggle with a weight cut in front of? Because do you want to be depleted? Do you want to have rehydration issues against a puncher like Anthony Yardy on fight night? Questions we won't get answered until that night, and maybe even after that, right? We're looking for the post-fight conference as well, so these fighters can actually let us know, because going into the fight, we're not going to know about injuries. We're not going to know about weight cut issues. We're not going to know about those things. Fighters ain't going to let us know that. They're not going to let their opponents know that. We don't find that until either in the fight, where we see something in the performance that's lacking, or after the fight. Maybe after the fight in the post-fight press conference, somebody might speak to it. So we got to talk about all those situations. And of course, Bill Haney shows up in rare form in Riyadh, right? No discrimination. I know we're in Riyadh. I know we're in Saudi Arabia. I know that, this is a different culture out here, but this is boxing. This is a fight game. And Bill Haney had to bring that energy as he confronted Brian Norman Sr. on the stage. We'll talk about that as well. I'm interested in you guys today as well. So if we can get an opportunity to, we'll see if I can open up the panel a little bit later, get some of you guys in here, because I want to know, how are we reading Devin Haney's body language, Bill Haney's body language, what they're saying? Do they mean it? Devin on this stage today spoke and gave Brian Norman Jr. his credit, right? He was confronted with the bum accusations, right? As I can't remember the name of the moderator, but spoke to Devin Haney and said, listen, you said Brian Norman Jr. is a bum. He said, no, I don't mean that. That's not what I feel like. He's a great fighter. What changed? Once again, Devin, to me, responding and paying attention to the algorithm and to what everybody's saying. He backstepped and backpedaled a little bit on what he said, and now Brian Norman Jr. is a great fighter, right? It's not a bum, if anything. I thought that was interesting as well. I'm still rolling things around in my mind. Who do I got winning these fights? Listen, I'm going to give my predictions. That's definitely got to happen and is going to happen here. Is it going to happen today? Maybe on some of the fights, right? But definitely by tomorrow, we're going to revisit this. I'm going to bring the show back up tomorrow. Normally, by the way, my days are going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. at this time is when we're going to be doing the show. It's the boxing take. It's Claymore Rain. You already know. I'm working on things. I got some constructive criticism earlier this week from people who I respect in the boxing space. Said, Claymore, you're a little long-winded. I embrace the criticism, man, constructive criticism from people who I respect, so I'm going to work on getting to the point, right? I'm going to work on putting that together in a better way. But at the end of the day, man, I'm a super passionate pundit in this space, man. I love this sport, the sweet science. I see it for what it is for me. I love the chess. I love all the intangibles that make great fights. I love these press conferences. I love the face-offs. I love the actual fights, right? I love the build-up. I love the stories behind these fighters and where they have come from to get to this moment. And at times, there just isn't enough words in the dictionary for me to capture the energy. And I'm just trying to deliver it to you guys the best way I can. So listen, man, it's a growing process. I'm glad that you guys are here to grow with me, man. Salute to all you guys who support the channel. Shout out to all my new subscribers to the channel. If this is your first time tapping into the content, don't waste another moment. Hit the subscribe button. This channel right here, this show right here is going to grow into being, in my opinion, one of the biggest and the leaders in the content creation space as far as boxing is concerned. Who knows? No ceiling on this. This right here will grow. I embrace all the love, man. Like my guy Fighting Word with Bang says, we love the love, man. And we got a lot to get into today, man. Also in the news, rolling out, Ryan Garcia puts it out there. It's official, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. I believe the date is February 21st for the WBC title. Listen, we can get past all the semantics. Obviously, it looks weird that Ryan Garcia would come up with a loss for a WBA title that was just invented out of nowhere, being that him and Rolly Romero didn't have any fights at 147. It is what it is, right? Rolly Romero right now, an elevated WBA champion in the welterweight division, and now Ryan Garcia. Listen, shout out to Oscar De La Hoya. Shout out to Mauricio Suleiman. They worked it out. They figured it out. Mauricio Suleiman takes Ryan Garcia off of the ban list, and what does he do? He rolls Ryan Garcia right into another opportunity to become a champion. He gets an opportunity to get back in the conversation with the WBC welterweight championship fight. And if he can come out, we got to talk about Ryan Garcia and who he is. And we're going to have to put our feelings to the side. So, guys, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to put the personal issues with Ryan Garcia to the side. It's not about that. This is the fight game. And I've told you guys before, Ryan Garcia, when he's in his bag, when he's mentally dialed into the boxing space, he's great for boxing. So as much as it's diabolical and there's a little bit of hypocrisy in it, and it definitely hurts the integrity of the WBC belt, let's see and let's talk about Ryan Garcia dialed into boxing and what that looks like, him being a champion, because Ryan Garcia champion puts up for great unifications. Conor Benn will be joining the conversation. Matter of fact, let's be real. Conor Benn is in the conversation now of the welterweight division as he's aiming and he's looking at that WBC title. He sees his father's legacy in that title. He wanted the Mario Barrios fight, but he's going to have to sit back, enjoy his weight cut, coming from 160 to come down to 147, and watch Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios figure it out on February 21st. We will talk about that as well. A lot to talk about, man. Salute to everybody in the building. Take a moment, hit the like button. Don't hit that thing, man. Hit the like button. Let's help the algorithm out. I'm hearing about this thing called a hype button. I don't know what it is yet. I don't follow up on that stuff, but I guess it helps. It's kind of like the like button, but it's like a hype like button. Hit that too, wherever that's at. It's somewhere. Hit that too, right? Hit that too. Hit that too, man. It is what it is, man. And subscribe to the channel. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to build on today. That press conference today was a great press conference. Once again, Turkey Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season. I can't speak to how grateful me as a boxing fan I am for what they brought into the space. And it's been a rocky road. This rollout with this ultimate package, and it was supposed to be free pay-per-views and really just like a tier level membership to get so many different things, right? While they're trying to figure that out, I'm also embracing and very grateful for these type of cards. This card right here is a it's one for the ages, man. It just is what it is, right? As far as a card is concerned. And they gave us Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez earlier this year, and that was great as well. But this card right here is just, man, even shout out to Vito Milnecki Jr., by the way. Shout out to Vito Milnecki Jr. And what's my guy's name? Who's he fighting again? Who's he fighting again? He's fighting, I don't know if he's a South African or a Somalian, who he actually is. Let me see if I can find him here. Hold on one second here. Let me see if I can find this guy. Who is Vito Milnecki fighting against? Samuel Namoa. Where's Samuel Namoa coming from? Samuel Namoa coming out of, from Lagos, Nigeria, but resides in Italy, right? 21 wins, 0 defeats, 5 knockouts. Man, they kind of set it off. They set it off at the presser. If there was a fight that was, listen, you got to dial into the whole card at this point, right? Because this is the undercard that's bringing the smoke the way these guys are bringing the smoke, right? The undercard went crazy. I was like, where did this come from? As Samuel Namoa commences to trolling Vito Milnecki Jr. Vito Milnecki Jr. looking to make his presence felt at 160 pounds. We've watched Vito Milnecki put in the work before as well. And look, man, where did this fight come from? Because all of a sudden, it's a fight I can't wait to see, right? We'll see what ends up happening there as Vito Milnecki looks to make a statement at 160. The 160-pound division is simply wide open and looking for something to happen. Terrence Crawford rumoring to be looking at a Janibek fight. Once he joins the division, it's going to add a certain energy and it's going to bring a lot of eyes to the 160-pound division. So Vito Milnecki wants to be in that conversation. The 160-pound division is just kind of like beginning to stir slowly. If you ever watch a whirlpool, a whirlpool, and it kind of starts off and you kind of see the water start gathering and it starts to move in a circular motion, and something is starting. What's going on something's going on over there, and it looks like it's trying to get itself going into a real whirlpool once Terrence Crawford gets in the conversation, and Vito Milnecki doesn't want to miss that train. So here he is in Riyadh season, Ring Magazine, putting on his best showing at Night of the Champions, right? So we'll watch those guys bring that work in. I'm interested in seeing what Samuel Namoa is going to bring to the table. An orthodox fighter, not a lot on him. I'm not that familiar with him. I know he's standing at about 5'11", so you might as well say he's pretty much 6 feet tall. Listen, he doesn't have a high knockout ratio, but he seems to be very excited. He said he's had his eye on Vito Milnecki Jr. for a moment. This is not something that happened out the whim. He's been watching Vito Milnecki Jr. That's always got to feel good for Vito Milnecki to know that he's been getting eyed by this guy from a distance, as Vito Milnecki's like, listen, I don't know you, brother, and I don't know what you've accomplished and who you fought, but you've never fought anybody like me, etc., etc., etc. Hey, I don't know, man. I want to see what happens in the ring. Vito Milnecki is a great fighter, man. It is what it is, right? But a standout to me on this presser, and I don't want to be disrespectful, right? Because we might have been being disrespectful. We might have not talked about this enough, right? Somehow we've allowed Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney to take the whole entire energy of this fight, and we forgot about everybody else on the card. And maybe we might have forgot about one of the most important people on this card, the only actual Ring Magazine champion on the card. This fight here for a unification, right? This is for a unification right here. This is one step away from becoming undisputed. This kid right here, pound for pound, number 5 on the Ring Magazine list as far as pound for pound fighters in the world. You can't speak or speak to him or celebrate him enough. Let me see what's going on here. You can't speak to him or celebrate him enough for what he's accomplished in the boxing space and the future that he's bringing to the space here. We're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about Bam Rodriguez doing his thing tomorrow night, right? He has a decent opponent in front of him in Puma Martinez. Both these guys undefeated. Puma bringing in a WBA title, that a missing piece, one of the pieces to becoming undisputed for Bam Rodriguez, but not getting spoken enough about, in my opinion. This kid is a unified champion, Ring Magazine champion, and 100% grade A performance. You know you're going to get that kind of performance every time I see him fight. Every time I see him fight, it's just a sweet science demonstration, pure entertainment. And you're talking to somebody here who likes to commentate and break down these fights. This is going to be one I'm looking forward to as a guy who watches the sweet science like I do. It's going to be just intense calling this fight as I'm watching Bam, use his angles and set up shots and his combination punching and his poise approach to the body work that he's going to put out there. And he's got a fighter in front of him that's going to really give him an opportunity to really showcase all of that, right? And in Puma Martinez, right? Puma Martinez is definitely getting ready to show the world that who he is. In Argentina, that style that they bring to the table just will not let us down. I just really know they won't. And Bam, I think, is just going to put in one of those performances. Hold on one second. I think I got my guy in the back room right here. Hold on one second here. 1 minute. Let me get him up on here. You guys know I'm trying to figure out. Hold on a second here. Boy. My guy, Ray M. Effin Davis in the building.
Can't see it because I'm a little low, so you can't.
Yeah, really the camera's a little low. It's a little low, but you're right there. Well, it's a little high, right? You're low, but the camera's a little high.
Yeah, I'm low.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How you feeling, man? Man?
Good, man. Listen, it was an exciting press conference. Big card, probably the best card again in a couple of years. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I think the last card we had what freaking call him? Haney's Lord or whatever. Haney's on there, right? It was a disappointment to a lot of us, but it was a good card. This guy, he loves my hats, bro. I got a lot of hats, bro. Clay, you gotta let him know later. But right now, Flex is stepping. I'm telling you, bro. You'll find out. But yeah, man, I'm excited. And I'm glad you're getting the Bam, man. Bam is actually, I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I think this is going to be something that he has to bite down, but I think he wins by knockout. But I think it's going to be something he has to bite down and dig deep for.
Well, he definitely has an opponent in front of him who's going to be, you know me. I'm always talking about the dance partners, right? I'm always talking about those dance partners. And Puma Martinez really checks the boxes on that. He's a serious dance partner. He's going to be there in front of Bam Rodriguez. He's going to be there trying to bring it. Look, he's an Argentinian fighter, right? Like at this point, Argentina has earned a certain amount of respect in the boxing game, right? When you think of Argentina, you think about the Maidanas. You think about what's my guy's name who fought well, I mean, obviously you could think about Gustavo Lemos as well, but Brian Castano, even Maidana's little brother, is it Angel Maidana? I can't remember what his younger brother's name is, but he's fighting right now as well. Yeah. There's a style, right? They believe in that head movement. They're inside. They're kind of flat-footed, kind of like the Mexican style, but their output is high, right? They got a high output when they get on the inside. Puma's not scared to do it.
They're more of a smother type brawler.
Right. Right. They try to smother your offense with their offense. They try to really take advantage of, this is a style, I think, stylistically, Bam Rodriguez gets an opportunity to look real great. Like he gets to show the world what he's really about, right? Talk about it.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, look, I think he has to make the adjustment to this because I think the last fight, when did he fight? When he got knocked down, that was what's the name?
Puma?
No. When Bam got knocked down in the fight with what's the name for the unification, right?
Let's see here.
I'm gonna tell you in a second. Hold on. He was fighting.
Was it Juan Estrada?
Yes, Juan Estrada, right? Juan
Right.
Estrada knocked him down, right? It was a similar approach. Juan Estrada stayed in that pocket. He kind of like stayed in front of Bam, and he caught him on some punches because Bam is very Bam's a fighter. He's a technician to me. I think he's very he fights either way. He adjusts to the style of the fighter. And he knows how to throw his shots when he needs to land them. But I think when Juan Estrada dropped him, it was because he was inside on Bam. Bam couldn't use like certain, you know what I mean, things. He had to figure it out, and he did, and he got the knockout or the stoppage rather.
Right.
I think in this fight it's very similar, but the difference is, I think Martinez is a lot stronger than Estrada. I think he's a lot faster than Estrada. I think he's a lot
Younger,
bullyish than Estrada. Yeah, and taller. And I think he's going to go in there.
Well, I don't know if he's taller. Is he taller?
I don't know.
He might be taller. I don't know. Is he taller? Hold on. Let me check. Let me just
find out right now.
I'm gonna be real with you. Puma's a short guy. So no, I think he's shorter, man.
Oh, damn, he's 5'2", bro.
Right. Puma's a small guy, man.
Let me just now that I know he's 5'2", Clay. It's over, bro. Knockout. He's gonna take his soul.
Look, man, wait, hold on. Let's not sleep on the short guys, Ray.
No, let me
Let's not sleep on the short guys. Make it complicated. When you think about a short guy, let's not forget Isak Pitbull Cruz, who's getting ready to defend his interim title. He's about to defend his interim title against Lamont Roach, and that's a complicated fighter within itself, especially with the style that Puma brings to the table. Being short, he can fight short, fight small, but he's working on the inside. I mean, listen, it's something for Bam Rodriguez to dissect, break down, figure out. But once again, an opportunity, right. For Bam to showcase what he really does, right?
Right. Because you got to remember, that Bam's actually, I think he's a taller fighter for once. I think most of the people have been taller than him, but this is crazy that he's going in there with somebody smaller than him. But at the same time, it's not that much of a difference. So I still think that he tries to smother Bam a little bit, and I think he tries to throw a melee of punches. What I see Bam doing is, especially with Robert Garcia, the great Robert Garcia, he's going to find a way to cut through that barrage. He's going to find a way to land a punch that shocks the world, as we all know, and lays this man down, because this guy's going to be a fire hydrant of punches. Like I said, a barrage of punches. He's going to try to just keep meleeing him and stay inside and smother Bam. Bam's going to have to keep on the back foot a little bit, and I think he's going to have to catch him on the reapproach. Instead of just staying back, he gains his distance, and then he comes in, and then he's just going to have to catch this dude as this dude is walking in. And that's how he's going to beat this guy. And I think he stops him. I think
he stops him too. And I'm be real with you
too.
Yeah, I think Bam has an opportunity. I think Bam's fast enough to, right? And I think this is what he's going to do. He's going to take advantage of the availability that's in front of him. He's got a fighter who's available, who needs to be proven. You got to show him who you are. Otherwise, he's not going to change anything. So we're going to see if Puma can adjust, because it's not about Bam to me in this fight, because I know what Bam can do. I know what he probably will do if you allow him to do it. Puma seems at times to be a one-dimensional fighter, right? A lot of the Argentinian fighters bring that kind of energy, and they try to will. And Puma's found his own adversity as well. I've been watching tape on him as well, and he's had his adversity, right, to where he's kind of been clipped and caught in the midst of all that. Bam is fast enough. He's smart enough. And you got to think that this is, I'm going to tell you straight up, I believe this is going to be a mid-range fight. I think Bam's going to use his movement specifically to get angles. He's going to move to specifically find those shots. He's going to get the rhythm, probably a Puma inside those first 2 rounds, 1 or 2 rounds max. I think it takes for Bam to start attacking that body. I see a lot of uppercuts, right? And I see a lot of pull counters in this fight, and I agree with you. I see Puma getting put away, man. I think inside of 5. I'll be honest with you.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking 4th round.
Yeah, I think inside 5, man, is where I'm expecting to see it.
He's southpaw, right? I think he catches him with a right hook. Yeah, I was gonna say left hook. But I think it's the right hook, bro. He's gonna catch him.
Yeah, I think Bam gets him out of there.
He's going to step back. When fighters step back and they readjust, and Puma's going to continue to walk forward. He's going to time that walk down, and he's going to time that hand movement coming up and down. And he's going to bro, whop, voila, bye-bye. Good
Yeah,
night,
I think
birdies.
it's going to be a great fight. If the thing about it, this is one of those fights where if you like the sweet science, Bam delivers.
Mm-hmm.
He delivers, man. He shows you how to box. He shows the different colors and the dimensions. He brings it, like he puts texture on the performance, right? Like
Right.
what I mean by that is like, it's like paintings that are beautiful, but there's other paintings that like you touch and you know what I mean? He brings the sweet science to the table. A Robert Garcia fighter, a interesting fighter for Robert Garcia too, because Bam is just like very different from the Mexican style of boxing to a degree. And I think the thing about Bam Rodriguez is he fights at those lower weights, that lower weight class, and he's bringing attention to it. And American boxing space doesn't really embrace those 115, 117 pounder type fighters, man. So he's really setting himself up. He's super decorated, but the big fights obviously are to come. His best fights are in front of him, as people are anticipating potential Nakatani fights or Monster Inoue fights if he wants to jump up in weight. People talk about the fact that he's a pretty big kid, that he's cutting the weight and fighting where he's at right now. But how high? Who knows how high up in weight he ultimately can go? I could see him probably closing out at like 126, maybe.
Yeah, it's too short to go to 130, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like 126 is where I think he'd probably close it out at, or maybe do like a superstar big fight at 130 if it lined up and it made sense with the right fighter, and the right prize and the right legacy. If it lined up right, maybe he would try it. But I feel like 126 might be where the end all be all for him. But big fights ahead of him. But this one, without a doubt, for it to be where it's at on this kind of card, man, it's going to be a hard act to follow. I think it's going to be a hard act to follow. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk to the elephant in the room, right?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk to the elephant in the room.
Before we talk about the elephant in the room, did you see who's number one in the welterweight division?
No. I'm assuming
it's Brian Norman. Click on your box, right? Look on that left corner. Like, go right to the homepage.
You talking about Ring Magazine, or you talking about
box, right? We can go to Ring Magazine too. I'm pretty sure Ring Magazine probably has similar stats, but go to box, right?
Okay. Ratings.
You see all the number ones right there in the divisions. And then I'm actually surprised. Whoever this is really building this fight. It actually makes me wonder when you see stuff like this. Me and my incognito ways, Clay, according to Frequent Flyer.
They put Devin there?
Yep. It makes me wonder. Listen, it makes me wonder if the fight is fixed.
Well, I don't think it's fixed, but
I know it's not. It's not. I'm being sarcastic because I'm like, damn, bro, number one, and I was like, let me just make sure. So I click on Devin. He's number one across the board in the world and in the United States. Like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's interesting. That they put him there. Hey, man, we're going into a golden era of boxing. A lot of this stuff is going to be confronted and dealt with. To give Devin Haney the number one welterweight spot just speaks to the fact that this is about popularity with those guys, right? It's not about actual accomplishments. There's no reason for that man to be that in the welterweight division. And it's a little disrespectful to the people who are in the division, fighting their hearts out in the division, trying to get that energy. And this man doesn't even have to.
But are they speaking to a skill set, Clay? Is they speaking to a
skill set? Doesn't count, man. You're in the welterweight division. If you're talking about boxing, put him on some pound for pound list. But if you haven't fought a welterweight fight, don't tell me you're number one in a division you haven't fought in.
That's why I'm glad.
That's ridiculous.
That's why I'm glad you're here, because that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, damn, he didn't fight there yet.
You haven't fought nobody there, so why would you get over? You got 4 champions in the division, right? How in the world? All of a sudden, obviously, when I look at something like that, you know what it does? It makes me not respect BoxRec's. You know what I'm saying? It makes me not look at you again. I know you gotta, you gotta think about your own credibility when you're saying certain things and you're moving certain ways. You're gonna have to stand on that, because later on, is it going to age well? How's it going to age when
pressure
take that stance to make him number one and he's never fought there? The same thing with the WBC, right? In this Ryan Garcia situation,
right?
It's like, okay, but you just gonna
had 3 number ones in last 6 months, believe it or not.
Yeah, you're gonna roll Ryan Garcia into a sanctioning body that you didn't even have him. He was banned. He wasn't even allowed to compete in. You take the ban off of him, you roll him right into a championship fight. Blah. What do you want me to say about your belt, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what. But more importantly, let's get to the press conference, because that was a great press conference. And of course, listen, man, if you guys were waiting on him, he was kind of asleep. He wasn't really, he hasn't been that active on social media like he normally is. He hasn't been popping up on these content creators on the Boxing Voice and other channels like he normally does. He's made his presence felt here and there, but he's been relatively quiet for the most part in the build up to this fight. And you can respect it if you understand, if you believe that this is potentially going to be Devin Haney's most competitive fight, the most significant fight, potentially, being that this is, for all intent purposes, a comeback fight for Devin Haney, right? This is a fight that, after you've seen what he did with Jose Ramirez, after you've seen what happened to him with Ryan Garcia, there's been a lot of questions floating around about Devin Haney's mental space that he's in and what he's going to bring to the bring to boxing. What does he have left for boxing? And now he's at 147 pounds, and he's chosen, according to, if you leave it to Bill Haney to explain it, they look for the best fighter in the welterweight division, the biggest puncher, somebody who just devastated their last opponent with a left hook, which happens to be the shot that was causing Devin Haney all the problems in that fight with Ryan Garcia. And Devin Haney lives to his name, right? To what he's done. He's always looking to fight the best. He's always looking for the accolades. So this is right up his alley. But I've got to say, and you let me know what you feel about it, it's been different this time around. Bill Haney's been different this time around. He's carrying it different. He's a little bit more dialed in. He's a little bit more reserved. Are the Haneys embracing and finding understanding about the magnitude of this moment? And we got to see how that plays out on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's actually so funny that you say that, because I think there's a lot of role reversals in this this matchup. I mean, I'm talking about from Daz to fighters to styles to, the talking, and bro, it's kind of crazy, like, to see how things are just flip flopping all around. But at the same time, it's kind of exciting, because look, we've been talking about this fight since it was talked about after the Jin Sasaki fight, maybe 2 to 4 days after they announced it. And people said it wasn't going to happen. And they said Bill was going to pull Devin out the fight and come up with an excuse. And, like, it's been so many narratives, so many different things. And now the fight's here. And like, you've seen everything that built up to it. This shows you that this fight has a lot of energy to it. Like, this is a great way of about it. And I just like the way that this fight has came to us, in the sense of it being anomaly, to say the least.
The build up is different, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's a different build up though, because it's not, one thing about it is this is one of those fights that sells itself, right, on paper. So Bill didn't have to really put that much work into being the personality he normally is when he's building up a Devin Haney fight, giving the story, walk around with the American flag, trying to Don King it almost. But in this press conference, he kind of let it out, right? He said, listen, I'm going to bring my A game. As a team, they're bringing their A game. They brought a lot of people with them. And Bill Haney brought the energy in his press conference, right? Like you wondered where he was. If you wondered where he was and where he was at, he kind of delivered it, right? Pretty much confronting Brian Norman Jr., saying, listen, man, we gave you the opportunity. Once again, back on that soapbox, he gave the opportunity. They're not grateful, right? He called him a what did he call him?
A clown.
A clown. Right. He said he's calling Brian Norman Sr. a clown. Brian Norman Sr., on the other half of the conversation, has been super active in the social media space for the buildup of really since the whole entire Jerron Boots Ennis situation. Brian Norman Jr. is probably one of the most active, outspoken in the social media space, in the boxing space, on speaking his mind. He's really enjoying it and finding himself a real home in the social media space, which is a great asset to Brian Norman Jr., right? Who really had to just, he just laid back and been getting ready. And he's getting his own image as well about himself, though, because he does great interviews and he speaks his mind. But Bill Haney shows up in rare form, right, at this press conference, and speaks to it. How did you feel about it as far as the energy is concerned? And did it give you more confidence in what Haney's going to bring to the table, or did it do nothing, or did it take away from the comments? Like, what did you think about what Bill did?
It just shows that, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, man. I mean, did it change anything and how the perspective was from any point that I had? No, I think it's all been about that energy. It's all been about, we're gonna keep this door closed. We're gonna go to work. This is a different battle for us, which was it, right? There's a different fight. Right. We're gonna dig in. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna do what we got to do. AKA Debo Dev started throwing that name out. Then get on stage.
That's interesting, right? Debo Dev. So this is a new name, right? Because we've always known Devin Haney to be the dream, right? So he put this, everything is it's chess, not checkers, right? Right. So Bill comes in with Debo Dev. We know who Debo is. You guys watch Friday. We know who Debo is, right? What you got, Mr. What you got on my 40, right? Mr. Take your bike, Mr. Knock your daddy out, right? Mr. Go ahead and get knocked out like your daddy did, right? We know who Debo is, the character. Rest in peace to Tiny. I can't remember his full name because he's passed away. But so he puts his name on Devin Haney. It's Debo Dev. What does that mean? I mean, is that a troll, or are we anticipating this Debo Dev manifesting himself in the ring on Saturday? How do you feel about Debo Dev?
I think he's speaking to what they've been working on in the gym, man. Pressure and knockouts. I believe it. Hence why I kind of got this gut feeling that something's going to happen. But at the same time, it's going to be it's going to be fireworks, bro. It's like, we don't run from nobody, man. Debo the man. That's where I kind of get it from. Like, we're never running. We're always taking on a challenge. We're the ones that's always there, and we call you out because we Debo. You know what I mean? We always walk in these streets. We don't run from nobody. So that's where I'm kind of getting the Debo theme from. I don't think it's so much of the power or who he is or who he's, you know what I mean? Or we gonna knock you out all the time. I think it's more of we always want the smoke. Debo always wanted the smoke. He didn't care. And I think that's where it came from.
But Debo was the bully, right? Yes, more than wanting the smoke, he was the bully. He was.
What was the last fight? He was the bad guy. He's gonna receive being the bad guy. So now we're moving into a whole transition of being the bad guy. All this is built up. This is all built up, and I think the Debo, like I said, I think the Debo thing is him saying he's going to get in that ring. That's what I said the first time, right? He's going to bring the pressure. He's going to try to knock this guy out. And we're going to see something different, but I think it also has something to do with we never run from the smoke. We're going to make ourselves announced at this division. This is the biggest and the strongest you're going to see, Devin, and you're going to see it. I think that's the selling point.
Yeah, Debo Dev, man. I'll tell you my whole entire angle as I've been watching this, and this is a buildup, right? That's one thing about this fight, right?
Malachi.
It's been building up, to this point right here, all the way from what happened in the lobby to the moment that these guys met with each other, and the energy that Devin has brought into this fight, right? We all know what happened in a hotel lobby or in whatever that room was where the security guard Devin Haney put hands on Junior, and how intense that was, and even the face-offs on the stage, how intense that's been. And Devin's definitely been bringing this energy, right, on the back end of these performances against Jose Ramirez and Ryan Garcia. And also, I think another intricate piece to this puzzle is important piece to this puzzle is the performance with Regis Prograis, right? Because we saw a little bit of a Debo Dev in that, right? There was an opportunity for Devin Haney to end Regis Prograis, and although that was a great performance, Devin got a lot of criticism for not having that killer instinct in that fight, because he had somebody in front of him that he could have really got out the way, and he didn't. And he looked like he tried to redeem that moment in that Ryan Garcia fight, and it went left for him, right? So Devin's been trying to bring this Debo Dev character to life, if you've really been paying attention. And then on top of that, there's the reputation that Devin Haney that I've heard about, maybe that's me and you and people who follow boxing closely, but not something that's been made public, I guess. I don't know, but the people in the building can comment on it. But Devin has earned his reputation about being a dog in training camp. They talk about sparring sessions with Devin Haney with middleweights and things of that nature ever since he was fighting at 135, where they like Devin Haney's got this dog in him that people aren't aware of because he stays behind that jab. They call him pillow fisted, but there's this other side of Devin that we've never had an opportunity to see. And I think I've always had the question in my mind as I've watched the performances in the ring in comparison to what I'm hearing about happening in a training camp. I wanted to know where and why was there such a different reality, right? Because when he got in the ring, he was so reserved, he was so measured, he didn't take the risk. He just fought safe.
Yep.
But when you hear about what he does in training camp, it's a whole different story. That's the Debo Dev that I hear about Bill Haney talking about. They know him to be different. The guy who Shane Mosley thought was going to stop Jose Ramirez, the guy who the whole camp has been talking about being that puncher, that's Debo Dev. And the Dream is the guy who we've been seeing. So this is an opportunity for Devin Haney to introduce this second version of himself, right? You had the pretty boy Floyd, right? And then you got Money Mayweather. Well, now we have the Dream Devin Haney. And are we getting ready to go into the Debo Devin era?
That's crazy, right? And shout out to Frequent Flyer and DeMar for their reasons why Debo was announced. Bill did say it came off the list. He said nobody wanted to fight him off that list. He did start calling him that. But I think Showbiz did actually make the phrase Debo Dev. So shout out to both those guys in the chat. But I want to say this, Clay. I think a lot of people, we take a dive down the history of memory lane. We start with the Linares fight. Devin stayed in the pocket that fight, was a very aggressive fighter till he got clipped in that 10th round. At the end of that round, and then you started seeing a different Dev, holding on, clinching, maybe lost something, right? Maybe something in his brain was just like, yo, I don't want to ever feel that again. You know what I mean? And it went from there. But then what happened? To answer the questions, he goes into a fight with Jojo Diaz, toe-to-toe, whole fight. We all know what kind of monster Jojo Diaz was. At the time, Jojo Diaz was 32-1-1. So he had a long career and only one defeat and one draw. And Devin stood toe-to-toe with him and banged it out in that ring with him. And I mean, it was crazy, right? It was coming out the victor. As we move forward, Devin started taking on some lighter chances. He took on the Kambosos fight, where he dominated 24 rounds of Kambosos. So, he put on a different type of style from that Kambosos, from that Jojo Diaz fight. He kind of like slowed it down, got more into his little, like you said, the dream. You know what I mean? He was that guy that can just stay on the backside of that. Then we got, Vasily Lomachenko, where he came in and he was attacking the body on Loma. Different game plan. Go up to fight Regis. He goes up there, different monster, different guy. Nobody seen it coming. He had confidence. You know what's so funny? Same antics, same bravado. I think he went up to fight Regis is as he's going up to 147 to fight another champion. It's like it was something. The energy was different for Dev because Devin's never been like that guy. Besides the Loma time when he pushed Loma, never been a guy, that was like, I'm just going to just keep talking shit with you all day. He literally let Bill do all the talking, right? Even in Kambosos fight, he's kind of like grateful for things. It's kind of odd. Like you see all these different characteristics of Devin. And then as we get to today, we had the Ryan Garcia, we had the Jose Ramirez fight. A lot of questions to be answered from there, and I think he's ready to get back into that Linares Jojo Diaz stage. I think he feels that this is who he is. He always was, and I think he's ready for it. I think he feels that his weight's good. I think he feels like he doesn't have to suffer and get down to and drain the whole muscle and strength thing. And I think this is where he feels that he's going to be the best. And I always thought that him and Shakur are supposed to be the chance at 147 that's supposed to meet. That was the plan. Shakur don't look like he's going up there. And Shakur knows something too. So let's not put it out there because of course said I ain't fighting that man at 147. So here's to say, as we look at this, do they know why they call him Debo? Because right now, the dude seems like he's putting a little bit more fear in a lot of these guys that didn't want to fight him. I mean, you had turn downs and turn downs and turn downs and turn downs. Again, according to our brother up here, was it Jamar? And then we got everybody else saying that, yo, who gonna fight him? Who's going? Yo, it's just crazy. So I think that says a lot. Brian Norman, shout out to him. Guy's becoming one of my favorite welterweight fighters. You know what I mean? He's definitely checking the boxes. I love his attitude. Little quiet like the assassin would be. You know what I mean? Not too much talking, just talking about business, and he's talking about it. You know what I mean? So listen, this is gonna be some fireworks, and I don't know, man. Did Debo get assassinated? Never, right?
Hey, listen, man. Debo ended up getting hit with a damn brick.
He got hit with a brick. That's it, right?
When I was
said, he never got assassinated because he broke out of jail to get his revenge.
Yeah, man. He got hit with a brick, man. And there's definitely somebody who he's about to be facing in the ring who's definitely going to be bringing some bricks with him. So Debo might want to be careful. Not everybody is trying to put anything on his 40. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But listen, at the end of the day, man, the thing that's been floating around in the boxing space about Devin Haney ever since the Ryan Garcia fight is the mental space that Devin is going to be in this fight. We're talking about Debo Dev. I think Debo Dev is, I think somebody said in the chat here was a name that Two-Tone coined for Devin Haney. But,
another coin.
You know,
there you go. Another person. Damn, bro. Give them all credit, Clay. Give them all credit.
Yeah, for sure, man. Two-Tone coined the name, and bottom line is there's this other version of Devin Haney that we've always heard about and we've never actually seen in the ring, or we've seen glimpses of him here and there in the ring. And he has to bring the energy in this fight. The pressure is definitely on Devin Haney to bring a fight, right? He has to bring a fight to this space. And it looks like he's gearing himself up and amping himself to do it, right? And what's the mental space of Devin? We won't know until Saturday. We saw him in the face-off today. He's jumping he's on his toes. He's bouncing in front of Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. looking at him with the death stare. But Devin Haney, this whole entire build up to this fight has been selling almost, and I'll be honest with you, my personal opinion, he's been working on selling something, whether it's to the boxing space, whether it's to Brian Norman Jr., or whether it's to his own mental space. Maybe he's talking to the man in the mirror. He's getting himself ready. He's wiling himself up because he seems to be somebody who is definitely getting ready to put it all on the line, right? Yep. He's going to put it on the line. He's going to answer the questions for himself. I remember Teddy Atlas once said, you don't know who you are until you start opening those doors in the house that you've never opened before, right? You go in, it's scary. It's a dark room, but you don't know. And it looks like Devin Haney's looking to find out. He's looking to get the questions answered for himself about him. Who am I? I've been doing what I've done at 135. I was in fat camps the whole time. My punch resistance has always been weird. I've fought so confidently in the training camps. When I get in the ring, it's not there. I'm getting hit. I'm feeling the shots a little differently. The pep in my step is not there. And you look at those, you remember those extreme weight cuts of him being on the weight scale with his face all sunken in and his eyes all sucked into the back of his head. And that just wasn't never Devin, right? And there was a huge contrast in the way he performed in that Jose Ramirez fight in comparison to what Shane Mosley saw happening in the camp. That was one of those eye-popping moments really out of that fight, was that Shane Mosley really being transparent about what happened. And I don't know if that might even hurt their relationship, right? Because I don't even think they speak like that anymore. But Shane Mosley was just like so honest and was like, listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know what the hell I just looked at happening in that ring. I'm telling you guys, the guy who I saw in the camp, I was comparing that guy to Sugar Ray Leonard. I was comparing that guy was supposed to knock out Jose Ramirez, and he just did something different, right? So there's this other person, there's this other version of Devin Haney that the boxing space may not be familiar with, and it looks like tomorrow night it is going to be what it is, and we're going to find out, because that's one of the big things I've been looking forward to see is the mental space Devin Haney's going to be in. But on the other side of that, he has a fighter who gets an opportunity, was the youngest champion. Is he the youngest champion right now?
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, he's a current youngest champion in the space, came out of nowhere.
we saw what he did from that night with Giovanni Santillan. He's been learning as he's been going through the game. He's made changes in his camp. He removed some people out of his camp and replaced a trainer in his camp. And since then, he's been moving in a certain direction. The trajectory is clear for Brian Norman Jr. And a lot of people have gotten behind him and are very excited out of what Atlanta is providing to the space. This puncher with the knockout of the year. I don't even want to say candidate at this point. I pretty much feel like he has knockout of the year. I don't know anybody who's going to be able. I mean, a knockout over this knockout. Somebody's probably going home in a stretcher. I mean, James Sasaki went home on a stretcher, right? I mean, this guy. He knocked this guy's memories out for like the past 6 weeks. God didn't even remember being in the fight or anything that happened. So here he comes in, ending that fight against Jin Sasaki with a left hook from out of nowhere. And Devin Haney jumps into a negotiation, into agreement to fight this guy right here in Brian Norman Jr. And Norman Jr. seems to be embracing the moment because his story is going to be great. On the back end of a victory here, he becomes one of the future pound for pound guys in the space, right? As we're also in the transition of an era change, right? There's a changing of the guards happening in boxing as the young Abdullah Mason looks to become the youngest champion in the space, and the Xander Zayas. No, Xander Zayas, I think, is actually
said that. Yeah, Xander is. Somebody said it in the chat too. Pop Shop said it too. Yeah,
it did. Okay,
it is Xander. Yeah.
So yeah, I was just thinking about
like a few months or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Xander Zayas, Shushu Carrington is looking to make his presence felt.
He's old though.
Yeah, he's old, but he's still a new guy as far as part of this new era of boxing that's coming together. So, you know, this is all rolling out, and this is an opportunity for Brian Norman Jr. to be in that conversation, getting a fight like this in front of a undisputed Ring Magazine Ring Magazine champion, getting ready to fight for his third championship against him. Brian Norman Jr. seemed to be real dialed in this press conference. Super dialed in. As Devin Haney was bouncing, he was just staring right through him, right? He just, to me, he had that look of somebody who just has real understanding of what's required of him on Saturday, and he seems determined to deliver on that. How'd you feel about Brian Norman Jr. About this whole buildup and where he was at there?
I like how your angle is, because I do agree that may be the case, and I mean may in a strong percentage of agreeing of 80%, but the other 20% when it says that, is he trying to resist what the lights are bringing to him, like being on that stage? Is he trying to stay focused to not get distracted from what's around him instead of, you know what I mean? That's where I'm kind of leaning towards that other 20, because he does look dialed in. He does seem to say the right things. He does seem to speak towards the fight a lot, right? But it's just like when he had his grand arrivals, it was kind of short. Even the hostess, she was like, "You were so short with me, you know. I didn't even know what to say." Blah blah blah. And he was like, "Yeah." And then he starts talking in the media workouts, and explains to her, "Yeah, it's about this and about that." So, she goes, "Yeah, at least you're a little bit more relaxed." And then he starts posing for the camera. You know what I mean? So it looked like the lights got to him a little bit, right? Like he got a little comfortable, but then he went right back from that to, I got to put on this facade. I got to make sure I'm dialed in. And if I don't act like or feel like I'm dialed in, then I'm going to get distracted. And I think there was a little bit of distraction when you heard his dad speaking about the crowd. As far as Brian Norman Jr., I don't know if that affects him as much, but if it affects his dad, I can pretty much assure you that his dad's in his ear about it. Like, yo, they over there talking this and that. That stuff has a big play in a boxing match with a guy like Brian Norman, who's never been on this stage before. And I think him trying to dial himself in and stay focused is very important for him. I think he's doing the right thing, even if it's just not to smile, not to laugh, not to nudge, not to get too close, to just stay focused on the game plan and win this fight. Then I think he's doing a good job of it. But if he's doing it just to not fall for the outside distractions and forgetting to focus on his opponent, he's going to be in for a long night. And I hope that's not the case. I hope that they're dialed in, as opposed to, like I said, that 80% is dialed in, as opposed to just not falling for everything outside of what's going on in front of them and trying to stay focused, trying to force themselves to stay focused on the fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, I disagree with that to a certain degree. I think that's literally a way. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I think he has to tune out the noise. That's what he's supposed to do, is tune out what's going on, and he's supposed to dial into the fight. That's what it's all about. There's no embracing getting distracted by the energy of other people trying to distract you and scream out things. And I think that 100% I agree that that's what he's been doing. That's what he's been trying to do. And that's what it's all about, right? That's what the best of the best do. That they don't play games as much as everybody else, right? What he's doing to me is he's showing how seriously he's taking the moment. He's trying his best to remain humble. He's trying his best to embrace the moment. He takes in those opportunities to take the photos and to be outspoken in his interviews and to deliver some personality, because that's part of the game as well. You know what I mean? But as far as the fight is concerned, I think one thing's for sure, two things for certain. Most people in the boxing space have embraced Brian Norman Jr.'s seriousness, right? You remember the pictures that they try to offer him on Devin Haney's fashion, and he just kind of like let the media know, like, bro, what are we talking about here? Like, I'm here in my t-shirt and my sweatpants, I'm trying to knock somebody's head off, and you guys are trying to get my opinion on what I think about this dude's clothes, right? He's been constantly bringing everybody back to the fight, bringing everybody back to the reality. The resumes have been put on the table, the levels of fights that Devin's been in, the fights that he's been in, and his whole thing is like, yeah, but we fighting. Like, y'all don't understand that we fighting on November 22nd, and that's what I want you guys. I'm dialed into that. I don't know about anything else, right? He's more decorated than me. He's a prettier guy than me. He's nicer. He's got more jewelry than me. He's driving nice cars. Oh, look at it. Yeah, all those things. But are those things going to show up as my ass getting whooped on November 22nd? I hope that's not what you guys are betting on, because I'm going to fight for everything. I've been working for this my whole life, just like him, since 7 years old. I fought in Mexico just like him. I've got no reason to believe any of the nonsense y'all saying. And most of you guys who may be saying what you're saying about me just don't know any better or caught up in the lights. But the reality is, I'm going to be Devin Haney's most dangerous, on the most even playing field. He doesn't have the advantages. There's always been something there on Devin, and that's not the case in this fight. There's no height advantage. There's no reach advantage. There's no age advantage. There's no pedigree advantage that you guys may believe it is. This is according to Brian Norman Jr., right? Yeah. Like, I'm boxing. I'm doing everything on a high level. And I've been preparing for this second generation, by the way, preparing for this all my life. Started watching my father, born into watching my father do this and embracing this at a young age of 7 years old to be who I am today. And I'm not going to let anybody trick me into believing I'm not where I'm supposed to be, right? So Brian Norman Jr. is dialed in. I mean, that's from my point of view, right? From where I'm standing, looking at, I've never questioned his space, the mental space that he's in. And if what ideally happens is Devin Haney brings the best version of himself, he puts it on the line, like he seems like he's ready to do, and he's trying to make sure he stays in the mindset to be ready to do. Debo Dev has been coined and put behind him. And if Brian Norman brings the best version of himself, I think we have a fight of the year candidate. A fight that's very close, as close as you can get to 50-50. And I'm not giving my prediction yet of who I think wins yet. That'll be for tomorrow. But I'm going to say that I'm super dialed into this one. And I'm looking at the intangibles, and there's a lot of intangibles in this fight. There's no doubt there's a good reason as to why this may be the most anticipated fight on the whole entire card, right? But as anticipated as that fight is on the card, right? And everybody wants to see this fight. And it seems like people have argued that this fight should be the main event, right? Because of how much attention is behind it. The reality is they're not the main event, right? The main event is what it is, right? And David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde are the main event of this fight. We can roll into this one here because new rumors circulating as Rick Glazer puts out an X, and I really should have got this up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If I can do it real quick, I will pull it up. But let's see what Rick Glazer has to say about it, as Rick Glazer seems to have some feet on the ground, and he has some feet on the ground in Riyadh. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find him here. Rick Glazer. What a name, right?
Bro, I'm just glad they don't call him.
What a damn name, man.
R out and Rick, bro.
Oh, okay, hold on a second. All right,
Crazy, right?
Okay, here we go, right here, right? I found it. Okay, let me try to pull it up here. Add screen share, Rick share. Okay, are we seeing this here? We dialed in. All right, let's speak on this right here. David Benavidez, Rick Glazer says, David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde is a fight that on paper looks like a Benavidez victories, but Benavidez, I'm told by Boxing Minds, on the ground in Riyadh is having some serious trouble making the 175 pounds weight limit, and Yarde's looking ripped. Plus, is experienced in big fights. We're going to talk about it all. But he says, but I have no confidence in Tunde, which is Yarde's trainer and manager, to lead a championship corner in a major fight. Yarde can punch, and if Benavidez is weakened, an upset is possible. Despite Yarde's inept trainer, this fight literally depends on the rehydration ability of Benavidez. He says, this is the fight. This is the main event on the Riyadh season event on the Zone Saturday Live, obviously, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Rick Glazer seems to have some information speaking to the idea that hold on one second, let me pull this down real quick here. Speaking to the idea that that David Benavidez may be having a hard time making 175 pounds. Maybe he's gotten a little too big, and if that's the case and he is depleted, that's going to be a serious intangible in this fight, being that he's facing the biggest puncher he's ever faced, in my opinion, on paper at least, in Anthony Yarde. What do you think about that?
I think that the preparement, I think we talked about this a little earlier. I think the preparement was one of two things. Either he had plans to go to bigger weight and fight Zerto if nothing panned out for him at 175. And it just, because the fight came as what it was, the weight loss had to happen. And or he's trying to absorb some shots from Anthony Yarde. And he's coming into there heavy so that way, you know, when he does his weigh-in, he rehydrates. He can kind of be more punch resistant to some of the bigger shots that Anthony Yarde may have. So it's one of the two things. But if it's so slow and so late, which I think is weird too. Let's throw this out there. That Floyd Schofield was on a trajectory of having to have a weight clause rehydration for the WBC, but yet David Benavidez is not on that weight clause or whatever that may be. For every week they have to check his weight, make sure he's on point, and he's in a fat camp. Kind of speaks a lot to what's going on here. So on that note, though, I think, man, listen, at the end of the day, I think our boy David Benavidez has to perform. I think either way, you know what I mean, we'll see how it goes. But like you said, it has to see how he rehydrates, or Rick Glazer said, to see if he can get anything back from the fat camp or wherever he has to do to make weight, man. I don't want to see him lose his belt on the scales, and I just want to see a great fight.
Yeah, David Benavidez, listen, man, he's made the moves, man, right? He's made the right move. But by the way, 60 people or something like that in the building, take a moment to hit the like button if you haven't done it. Don't do that right now if you haven't done it. Take a moment to go ahead and do that. Find that hype button. I'm hearing about this hype button. I got to do my research on it. I'm hearing there's this new feature on YouTube. There's a hype button or something. If you guys know anything about it, hit that MFR too, right? Hit that motherfucker too. And definitely subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done that, do that now. Subscribe to the channel. But yeah, David Benavidez, listen, man, he's made a lot of power moves, right? Stand out year for him, big year for him in multiple different ways, right? Obviously, he's transitioned from 168 to 175 to get to this moment right here. He's made a lot of, you've seen David Benavidez take a lot more control of his career, as people have been asking David Benavidez to do this for at least the last 2 years. He was once on the hunt for Canelo Alvarez being the undisputed champion in the division. He was in at 168. He wasn't able to put that together, and people were pushing at David Benavidez to, listen, man, don't chase him. If he's not going to give you the opportunity, don't waste your time. He's always been a big guy that's why he got the name the Monster at 168. He's always been a big dude. We hear the stories about David Benavidez as a young guy sparring in the ring. He's always been the big guy, right? A lot of people are talking about seeing him potentially even in the heavyweight division at some point down the road in his career. So saying all that to bring it back into what the reality is, that David Benavidez has naturally a big guy who has always cut weight to be wherever he's at. Now, he's made his way into 175. He's had a fight against the probably closest to an actual natural light heavyweight would have been against Alexander Voznik. That was his first fight. He had some injuries and some things going into that fight that made that fight look very, people were like, oh man, like not the monster, right? David Benavidez has not shown the monster since he's been at 175. He fought against David Morrell, made a power move to get out of the Jesse Hart fight and give the space wanted to see. That's him and David Morrell. But David Morrell was also a super middleweight, making his way up into the light heavyweight division as well. And we saw how that fight went. He actually got buckled in that fight, and kind of I want to say he got knocked down in that fight.
Yeah, it was a knockdown. He got knocked down in the 10th.
It was a weird knockdown, but it got called a knockdown. But regardless, the monster once again has not shown up into the heavyweight division. And here he goes, getting inside of the ring with an Anthony Yarde, a natural light heavyweight and a very experienced light heavyweight with experiences of fighting, pound for pound champions like an undisputed light heavyweight champion in Artur Beterbiev. Not at that time, right? But he was a unified champion at that time. But regardless, you know what I'm saying? A great fighter in Artur Beterbiev, and obviously fights with Kovalev. He's been on this big stage. He's a very acclimated, natural light heavyweight guy, strong, big puncher in the light heavyweight division. And David Benavidez has to know that, right? He has to understand that he has to be in his optimal shape, as strong as he can be. And like you said, the punch resistance and all those different things. So it makes you wonder, going into this fight, was there David has been known to kind of swell up a little bit in between fights, right? We've seen him. He's known to get fat in between fights. I think he's coming off of that David Morrell performance, and it looks like he's been in the gym pretty regularly. But if this indeed is a fat camp for David Benavidez, and he hasn't really been able to work as much on his boxing as maybe one would argue he should, then here's my take on it. David Benavidez is probably going to be the David Benavidez we've always seen. And that's a good and a bad thing, right? Because yesterday or the other day when we did our last show, we spoke about David Benavidez potentially having to make adjustments in this fight, maybe working off his back foot at times, doing different things that he would have to work on, specifically tailor fit for this particular fight. And if he's been spending the camp cutting weight and dieting and doing those things instead of working on those things, I'm leaning more towards the side of him bringing the David Benavidez that we saw against a David Morrell or a Caleb Plant or an Alexander Voznik. Does that David Benavidez translate well against an Anthony Yarde, a power puncher? I guess we'll find that out Saturday, right? That's when we'll figure that out. But on the other side of the ring, bringing it and understanding his moment, right? He has to understand this moment. He doesn't want to let this one slide through the crack. I don't see it. Did it not download? Oh, goodness. It might not have downloaded. It's Anthony Yarde, right? I don't see Anthony Yarde. Hold on. Let me see here. Where Yarde? Okay, we'll just bring in another one, man. Maybe I'm tripping. We'll bring it in. Maybe I missed you, Yarde. Maybe I missed you. I got this. Let's see here. There he is right there, Anthony Yarde, who embraces the journey, right? He looks back, and Anthony Yarde has a moment at a press conference where he has to look back and say, man, damn, Anthony Yarde's been through a lot, right? He has the death of a trainer. I can't remember his name right now. He lost both his parents during COVID, right? Both his parents during COVID. Lord have mercy, right? And you're definitely muted, so we're definitely not hearing you.
Talking to my son.
Okay, cool, no problem. And he embraces the journey and where he's been to where he's at right now. And here he goes with a third opportunity, right? To become a champion. This one is a big deal for Anthony Yarde. All bets are off. He has to put out his best performance. Is Anthony Yarde going to be able to step up to the moment? How do you feel about this fight, man? Like, people just really kind of rule Anthony Yarde out a little bit, right? They just kind of feel like do you feel the same? How do you think about that?
I think people are definitely on the fence of ruling him out. They know that he has some issues with the gas tank, but they forget that this guy gave two great performances and came back his last fight and got the ultimate decision because what they were split. Him and Lyndon Arthur has split right on wins, and then he came back and just finalized it with the 2-1 victories or whatever, right? So it just shows you that he's on the scale. And he looked good in that last fight too. He didn't look like he was gassed or any of that.
A lot more in that last fight too, by the way.
So just to say that he he coming in heavy or heavy-handed or man, listen. Yes, he's slower than Benavidez. Yes, he's probably little. I'm trying to think of a lot of like disadvantages that he may have.
And that's what I'm saying. Like even with the slow thing,
not
right?
Too many, man. It's just like he's a natural light heavyweight. He has power. He knows how to punch. It's a guy gave before Bivol, right? Who gave Beterbiev the best fight? Anthony Yarde. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in fact, and even with the whole slow thing, I hear people saying that. I'm not too sure where I'm at with that all the way.
I don't think he's slow. I would say more like sluggish, right? Let's use the word sluggish. Like they use it because he's muscular, and they think that muscle slow you down. But who cares, man? The guy never showed nothing. I mean, look at his record. He got 3 losses. Revenge one of them. 2 to champions. I mean, what else can you say? And this is his 3rd opportunity, and you live by your mistakes, right? And that's usually how people move forward. They learn by their mistakes, and they don't let the 3rd one get away. Hopefully he doesn't. If he does, hey, man, you live and learn. Go back to the drawing room.
Right. So, I mean, with the whole entire speed thing for me, people speak on that, and I feel like there's a difference between, because one thing for sure with Anthony Yarde is I feel like he's an athletic light heavyweight, right? He's athletic, like he has the build. It's who he is, right? But he also is a big puncher. So he's gonna sit on his punches a lot more, and he's gonna fight in a way to where he's able to deliver the power. So I think there's a difference in between him choosing to be that kind of fighter that he is, that's kind of sat on his punches and not really being athletic in comparison to his ability to be athletic. I think in the Lyndon Arthur fight that we saw him being a lot faster with his combination punching, and he had a lot more speed about him. If you really watch that fight with the way he was able to put his punches together, and he's able to work well inside those into those close quarters. When he gets in those close quarters, he's a very active fighter on the inside. And I think that's going to play a difference in this fight with David Benavidez, because he knows how to put those punches together well. He knows how to work it from the body and come up top or go on the top and end it to the body and put nonstop pressure to the point to where even the feints will start to can become an issue, because that he's the kind of guy who's going to follow up behind those feints, and that if you don't bite on the feints, that you potentially may walk into something, right? So he can walk you into shots. He brings his reputation into the ring about being the bigger puncher. So that alone, David Benavidez is either going to acknowledge all of that and embrace that and say, listen, he's going to have to hit me and get my respect before I change anything I'm doing. But if he hasn't been working on anything in a significant way to change it up, because it was a quote unquote fat camp, then this is a potential upset, because they say all great cards is an upset. This might be the biggest potential upset on the card, in my opinion. What do you think?
Very well could be, man. And like I said, if the Benavidez ain't fighting off that back foot this fight, he's going to be in a world of trouble. I literally said that the other day. That needs to be his game plan, because I think Yarde's coming forward and he's coming to win.
Yeah, and shout out to HD, right? HLD. So, salute HLD, by the way, long time no see. Says Benavidez has faster hands, but he's not overall faster than Yarde, about the same after that. And let me tell you why I think that's significant. It's significant because when we're comparing them and we're talking about the speed, the hand speed in particular, it's not a competition as far as it's not about. The question is Anthony Yarde fast enough? And I talk about that, right? Even with the whole entire Brian Norman Jr., Devin Haney, when they talk about Devin Haney being the better boxer, I'm saying, okay, but is Brian Norman Jr. a good enough boxer, right? If he's not a better boxer, maybe not, but is he a good enough boxer? In other words, to set up shots, to put things together. And, we got to see what that looks like on Saturday. But with David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde, Anthony Yarde is fast enough to be effective against David Benavidez, as far as him having an effective offense against David Benavidez. Is he fast enough to do that? And clearly David Benavidez, there's no question about it, is fast enough to be effective with Anthony Yarde, right? But when we're talking about punchers and what they bring into the space, the name of the game is behind that effectiveness for Anthony Yarde comes pain, comes being hurt, comes being knocked out. So when we're talking about effective with Anthony Yarde, we're talking about his ability to do what he does, which is hurt opponents. And if he's able to hurt David Benavidez, when was the last time we've seen David Benavidez hurt? And is David Benavidez able to deal with that adversity by making adjustments? Or is he going to sit there and try to weather a storm? And we have to see how it ends up going. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. I agree. These are all the things that we really have to be able to acknowledge in this fight, Clay. I mean, if that fat camp thing is true and he does come in there a little weight drained or exhausted, we're going to see we can see the potential loss of David Benavidez taking his first loss in an upset there.
Yeah, I agree.
If not, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll see Benavidez. And we got to also remember this too, Clay, that David Benavidez is coming from the same weight going to 165. So I think even the fat camp thing might not be a problem, because he's been a heavier guy fighting at lower weights and making it work for him. So, you know, as they would say, being a weight bully or weight drained or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's different. Maybe it's not. Maybe because it's closer. Maybe it's the heat in Saudi. We don't know. I don't know. We won't know until it happens. And when it does, we'll find out. But, yeah, man, this is probably it's so hard. Between Noakes and Abdullah Mason in this fight, Yarde and Benavidez, one of them is going to be an upset.
Yeah, there are potential upsets on this card, man. 100%, man. You know, the Brian Norman Devin Haney fight is not going to be any upsets.
Yeah,
it's
a winner. So close, you can't. Yeah,
it's just going to be a winner. That's it. And I think also a fight that's going to be very interesting, obviously super interesting on there, and it would be a crazy upset. The biggest upset of the year would be, in my opinion, at this point, would be potentially seeing. Well, I don't know. That'd be a big one with David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde, but I gotta say, if Bam got clipped, stopped, or
Puma
or something like that, that would be crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, you never know.
It would be crazy, man. But if what Rick Glazer is saying, and I consider Rick Glazer relatively credible, right? He's been wrong on things before, but I believe he does have people there on the ground who are at least assessing it from the outside looking in, right? They're assessing what they're seeing, and could they be wrong and inaccurate about what they're looking at? 100%, right? But I don't think he's making it up. I believe there's eyes that have been put on David Benavidez, and those eyes have seen what they've seen and walked away with, right? And put it out there like that, right? It's like you see somebody. People have seen Brian Norman Jr. on the build up to this one on the grand arrival week and feel like he looks a little dry, right? He looks a little sunken in. Does that necessarily mean that's what it is? No, but is it a fair assessment? Is it based on what people are seeing? Yes. So we'll see what ends up happening, obviously, on Saturday with David Benavidez. If this does end up being the fat camp, then there's a chance that we might have a depleted fighter, a guy who maybe, you know, may pay the ultimate cost for not being responsible in between fights, for getting off weight and coming back down in weight. We saw Errol Spence go through that, right? You know, somebody who gained a lot of weight in between fights and would do crazy weight cuts to get ready for his fights, and he'd win. But ultimately, when he got in front of the right competitor, he got exposed in a way that he accredits and ties into his lifestyle. So if David Benavidez hasn't been living the lifestyle, this fight here with Anthony Yarde, one of the biggest punchers in the light heavyweight division, outside of maybe an Artur Beterbiev, I'm not too sure, but he's definitely up there. This could be the fight where he succumbs to all those issues, right? We got to find out.
And not to mention, Clay, I don't know if you remember this, they went over to Riyadh for quite some time now. You know what I mean? They've been there maybe most of them 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And you figure David Benavidez had his family there. And I'm pretty sure his family was there the whole time, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Because he likes it. He's a family man. But usually when he's home in the States, he kind of tucks himself away, and then he brings his family only to to the press conference.
Mhm.
But I've overheard that his family was there the whole time. So when you spend the time with your kid, because it's a tourist thing, right? You want to spend time with your family. How much
Mhm.
time did he take off spending time with his family? That's one thing to look at. So while we're looking at that in aspect, could that be a reason why he's missing dates and stuff in camp and things of that nature? He's spending time with his family, and then he's going back in the gym, maybe working late and just not getting the pounds off or just not getting the work in because he felt that he'd done enough to beat this guy. So there's a lot to be said and a lot to be played with when it comes to thinking what's going on here. But we won't know again until we know. So we'll have to see.
1 second here.
Sources, Clay. Sources.
Sources say. Shout out to Cam Side. Yeah, man. Hold on a second here.
That man, he wants his shout outs, Clay. He tell you use his bars. He wants a shout out. That guy crazy.
Yeah,
I respect it though. You know what I mean? He came up with it.
Oh no, you gotta shout him out, man. You gotta show love to Champ Side and what he's brought to the space. Definitely one of the leaders in the boxing content creation space right now. Hold on 1 second here, Mario. We're gonna go ahead and segue into another conversation as well. But this card right here, it looks like it's gonna deliver. I just can't imagine it not delivering. You know what I'm saying? I just can't see it. I mean, maybe I don't see what, and like what fight has the best chance of not delivering if you were going to pick one on this card. Which one do you think has the best chance of not delivering, if that's even worthwhile talking on? But
let's see. And this whole card,
yeah, like who is
again, it's hard, bro. I would think, I mean, who you got? Maliki, you got
I think that Milnicki fight
I think that's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, that one turned out to be a fight. It's a fight.
It's gonna have to be.
That's the fight I think with Milnicki. That's the fight that I didn't know I wanted to see.
I mean, they're all championship fights, right? So each fighter is at equal count. Listen, one thing that Turkey does, he doesn't put you in a fight that you can't win, that you can automatically win. He puts you in a fight that you have to fight. So I don't know, Clay.
But fights can be boring, right? Like, there was going to be.
It could be. I don't think Brian and Devin's going to be boring. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think the most boring fight will probably be Devin Benavidez and Anthony Yardy out of these cards.
No way! Are you kidding
me?
You
know why? I'm going to tell you why. I think we might see a stalemate, man. I think everybody else is going to be action. I think it's going to be full action. Only thing that can make it boring. But it won't be boring because Bam Rodriguez beating the crap out of the Puma. Like, quick.
Listen, bro.
I think every fight on here is exciting, Clay.
Right. Every fight on here is exciting. But
Devin gets on his horse and runs around that ring, then that could happen. But
David Benavidez and Anthony Yardy is the most guaranteed exciting fighter, I think, on the card. It's the most guaranteed.
You just said the guy going through fat camp. I mean, it
but
can change. He can look lazy.
Anthony Yardy's not going to stop trying.
Right.
He's not going to stop trying. And David Benavidez, I just don't believe. I can't imagine him.
That's why I said if it had to be, I would think that if you're talking about this fat camp thing, I don't see any other fight on here that's going to be that way.
Well, there's no fight that should be that way. So it's not about going to be.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think a lot of people, someone's going to get knocked out probably in almost every fight. I'm just letting you know.
If there's a fight on here that could be boring, for me, it would be the Vito Mielnicki fight, right? That's the fight. That's the fight that could end up being boring depending because I don't know who Sam is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
would not favor David Benavidez and Anthony Yardy to potentially be the stinker.
Never know. I don't either. I don't, but I don't know. Actually, you know what?
If anything, Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney has a better chance of being that Devin Haney just was part of a super boring fight, and he has the ability to potentially run all night, right? He could do that and make this fight kind of whack. But Anthony Yardy and David Benavidez, nah, bro, that's the guaranteed killer. That's the guaranteed fight.
I'm just throwing something out there. You asked me to throw something out there. I did.
No, I'm hearing you.
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just threw it out there.
Well, I'm clearly I hear what you're saying, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I was kind of shocked that you picked the one fight.
I thought about that one, right? I did mention that, right? And I'm like, but I just seen these guys getting in each other's face, bro. This That don't look like that's gonna be you know what I mean? It could turn that way after the second round. We could see one of them running from each other.
Do
Somebody
you
dominate
believe
that
you
fight.
believe the Vito Melnecki Sam fight is more of a guarantee to be exciting than Anthony
No,
Yarde
I didn't say
Gabriel?
that either. That's what I said to you. I said the way they was getting at each other, you know what I mean? It was like,
It is what it is.
I don't know. I don't
What,
know. I have to see. I might fall asleep with one of them. I tell you that.
I have no idea, right? But rolling into the final topic real quick here. Ryan Garcia,
Oh, my cousin.
Ryan Garcia rolls out and gets an opportunity to fight against Mario Barrios here for a WBC title. The story here is it is what it is, right? It is what it is with Ryan Garcia. We've been through such a journey with Ryan Garcia, but a fighter who I think has been on a domestic level for a while now, right? This is a fighter, in my opinion, Ryan Garcia, who's been showing domestic traits, right? Shout out to the UK who have the domestic, and then they have the international, and then they have world level, right? I like that breakdown that they have there in the UK because I think Ryan Garcia checks the box on being domestic, right? He's a fighter who brings a lot more popularity than actual skills to the ring as of late. And he gets an opportunity to become a champion again on this one, inked it out, put it out on social media that he is going to get an opportunity to fight Mario Barrios on February 21st, WBC title on the line. What do you think about that fight?
I think Barrios show out or shut up for him. I think for same thing for Ryan. This is a true live or die tale for both of these fighters. I think Ryan has did more than enough trying to solidify himself in a return to the ring and justify all the things without the ostarine in the system. Hopefully that's monitored. I think Barrios has been known and said to be avoiding all the big fights, all the fighters that potentially can beat him, and fighting guys that he feels that are easy wins. But I think he also has something to prove. You know, I mean, he's had 2 draws, some bad a bad performance before that, and I think what was it, Keith Thurman before that, he won the title. Keith Thurman a couple fights before that. So Mario Barrios has been on like this weird roller coaster at the welterweight division, and the activity has been weird. This is his time and his shine right now to go in there and prove himself to another elite fighter, a fellow Mexican American, and bring his chance to win. They both have a history of fighting the same guy, which is Tank versus Tank Davis, which is great to actually mention Tank without shitting on him or rain on his parade. He's seen both of them, so to see how they both measured up, they both got dropped with a body shot, right? So we see what this could be, man. This is going to be some action, and he's actually bigger than Ryan, almost like Luke Campbell, who was dominating Ryan until he got knocked out. So, and put Ryan down. So this says a lot.
Yeah, Mario Barrios has had an interesting journey. He's always been
Could be at 154.
He's always been an interesting, average, all-around boxer, right? Mario Barrios brings willingness to engage. He doesn't mind fighting you. He's going to fight there. He's going to sit in there and engage with you. And yeah, man, based off his last 2 performances, with Abel Ramos and then Manny Pacquiao, just both of them went to a draw, which is crazy. It's impossible to get him involved in the conversation, in my opinion, of unifications, as he's definitely in the PBC protective custody program, right? 100% been in there. Shout out to J Pitt City, showing love right here, putting some color in the chat. Yeah, it says Barrios been holding that belt for the highest bidder for years now. 100%. Just playing keep away with that WBC title, and the WBC in Mauricio Suleiman, I'm sure, has been trying to find a way to get his belt more active in the welterweight division and into the bigger fights. He was able to get in that fight with Manny Pacquiao. I'm sure he got some money there. He's able to fight Abel Ramos on a Netflix MVP card. I'm sure he got some money there, but really it's a very limited fighter in Mario Barrios, and rightfully the weakest link in the welterweight division. If you want to become a champion real quick, if you can get Mario Barrios to pen an agreement to fight, you should take that fight next. Oscar De La Hoya does his job for Ryan Garcia and delivers to Ryan Garcia another opportunity to become a champion, so that Ryan Garcia doesn't get left outside in the cold, as we're watching Devin Haney now getting ready to fight for a title on Saturday. We're watching, a lot of things move around in the 147-pound division, and with new and up-and-coming fighters right now, like Richardson Hitchens is probably going to make his way into the division soon, and you got Tiger Johnson coming off a stellar performance against Nicolas Flas, and he seems like he's going to be shaking up in the division, and you got these other fighters like the Rohan Polancos and things of that nature who are moving in the division. Conor Benn getting ready to return back to the division off of a performance against Chris Eubank. He seems to have a lot of momentum behind him. Ryan Garcia has to get into this conversation, right? And becoming a champion is going to be part of it. This fight right here, as much as it's very hypocritical and it doesn't seem to be fair in so many ways, it's a popularity contest thing. Ryan Garcia does bring that type of energy, and I think Ryan Garcia as a WBC champion is a good thing for the welterweight division that is slowly brewing up, just like I was describing for the middleweight division with Terrence Crawford rumoring to be looking at a Janibek fight potentially if Janibek can get through his next fight with Erislandy Lara and become a unified champion. This division is at the same time is brewing into something as well, as a lot of stars are there now. Ryan Garcia should be there, even with Rolly Romero being a champion in the division as well, right? So let's see if Ryan Garcia can get in the conversation, man, and make it happen. I think Ryan Garcia at in the best version of him, I think, is a great asset to boxing. You know what I mean? I know this particular community, as far as the Black community, the urban community in boxing, is indifferent with Ryan Garcia based off of things he's done in the past. But like I told everybody earlier in the beginning of the show, it's boxing, man. It's a fight game, man. You know, T.O.'s done it as well, but T.O. is a great fighter. And T.O. in great fights make great fights, right? T.O. is not going to not deliver. You can feel however you feel about things that he said, but he's an asset to boxing when you get him in the right fights, in the right matches. And Ryan Garcia, I think, checks the boxes the same exact way. So Mario Barrios knocks out Ryan Garcia. We got a couple more years of boring WBC conversations in the welterweight division. If Ryan Garcia knocks out Mario Barrios, well, he could potentially save the WBC conversation in the welterweight division and be part of some great big fights, man. Him and Conor Benn, him and Devin Haney, him and Rolly Romero for a rematch, for a unification. I mean, like great conversations that Ryan Garcia could be in if he can get himself a championship belt, right?
Agreed. I think it's
It
hilarious.
is what it is.
And what's even crazier is the winner might be fighting, you just mentioned, Teofimo Lopez, especially if he loses, right? I think that's the only opportunity for any one of those guys. And then on the other side of the street, you said Barrios may be the weakest link. I think Rolly might be the weakest link, especially if Pitbull come back up there. And we really be in trouble. Or old man Barossa in trouble. But all jokes aside, man, I think this is going to be to me. It's a weird fight. It's a really weird fight, especially after the performance that we just seen with Barrios. I just think like his days are numbered at welterweight division. But then we just seen Ryan get knocked out or pretty much put on his pockets and look like he ain't want to fight no more. So, and looking crazy heavy, sitting on these interviews and these conversations on these at the sports desk. Is he even going to make welterweight? Is he going to be comfortable at welterweight? Like, bro, there's so many questions to this fight, bro. Yeah, I don't know. And I agree with Aircraft Carrier. I think Barrios and Broly would have been a better fight, but it is what it is, man. Like you said, Clay, it's about the money, and he's selling himself short, man.
Yeah, without a doubt, Rolly and Ryan would have been a better fight, but Oscar De La Hoya is a scary promoter, bro.
Yeah.
He's definitely, to me, the scariest promoter in the business. He is not comfortable with his fighters fighting hard fights. He's not comfortable. I mean, he's doing it with Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Boots Ennis, and he did it even for the Ryan Garcia Rolly Romero. We don't want to see that fight again. That fight was boring. What a opportunist to say something.
You got Rolly's message for that?
For him to say some stupid nonsense like that. That Rolly Romero is never really part of boring fights. That night was based off Ryan Garcia fighting safe. Oscar's just so yeah, bro. So he stopped Orion from getting the big bag with Jake Paul, and here he's found him and give him the opportunity to fight the weakest link. He's definitely put Mario Barrios in the crosshairs of, yes, there's an opportunity there. I could just see him. Yes, Ryan, do this. Become a champion. It is what it is, right? Ryan becomes a champion, though, and he's in the conversation and making the biggest fights. It is what it is. This is Oscar De La Hoya trying to put Ryan Garcia in a position to get Oscar De La Hoya the most money he can get out of Ryan Garcia, as Ryan Garcia has been in an uphill battle trying to get away from Oscar De La Hoya for years now, just constantly trying to figure something out. And if he gets this title, I'm not sure if there's any contingencies in the contract between Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya, but if he becomes a champion, this could also extend the agreement between Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. So Ryan Garcia is in a no-win situation, right? The worst thing he could do.
Is he though?
Yeah.
What if he takes a dive?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. He's in.
Oscar throw him away if he takes a dive and just loses on purpose?
He won't throw him away because Oscar knows if he takes a dive, Oscar's gonna know what Ryan did. See, Oscar is in a situation to where he knows he has a fighter who's not happy, who does not want to be in a business arrangement with him, but he's holding. Legitimately, Oscar De La Hoya, in my opinion, and it is what it is, he's holding Ryan Garcia hostage. Ryan Garcia does not want to be at Golden Boy, bro. And Oscar knows it. Oscar doesn't even talk to Ryan. He talks to Ryan's representation, but he's holding him anyway against his will. I think most promoters at this point would let Ryan go. Right at this point, even like Bob Arum and Teofimo Lopez, is as toxic as that been, he's given Teofimo Lopez the freedom to go and make moves elsewhere, and he's like, just give me my money, and when we're done, we're done. But Oscar is holding Ryan Garcia it's toxic, bro. It's whack, to be honest with you. There's parts of it for me that kind of,
that's his real seed, Clay. Can't let go of your firstborn.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I think that Ryan Garcia, there's an argument there to say that a lot of the mental health issues that Ryan Garcia has dealt with, I think a lot of it are connected to that toxic relationship he has with Ryan Garcia.
I agree with that.
With Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, even the hiatus he took after the Luke Campbell fight, he's been trying to get away from Oscar De La Hoya. He comes back, he doesn't want to be in championship fights. He tries to do catchweight fights. You know what I'm saying? He's done everything he can strategically to keep his brand growing, but at the same time, give himself an opportunity to fulfill that contract and not do anything else to add to that relationship. And it just ends up being here. And here Oscar finds a way to put him in a championship fight. He negotiates with Mauricio Suleiman, gets him off the ban list, puts him in a championship fight. And now Ryan Garcia's in a no-win situation, because if he takes a dive, it'll be another loss that will just hurt him even more. And if he wins and becomes a champion, well, now Oscar's potentially sunken his teeth even deeper into Ryan Garcia. So he's in a complicated situation. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is. But what do you say? What did Shelton say?
Crazy, you can't.
Stop capping. Ryan wasn't fighting safe. He just can't fight. Ryan wasn't fighting. Did I say he was fighting safe?
I do. You know what? I think you did, but I don't think you said it in the sense of what he was saying.
How did I say then?
I think you're saying he was playing it like he has to play it safe. Like he has to make sure that he's like he doesn't have.
You come out with the fight with Rolly. I think he was fighting safe. I think once he got knocked on his pockets, he didn't want to engage no more. He started fighting not to get knocked out. That's what I think he was doing, bro. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He wasn't letting his hands go. He wasn't. You know what I mean? That fight was trash. That's what he's talking about when I said why the fight looked like it did between him and Rolly. Yeah, I mean that. Rolly tried to fight. He tried to make the fight happen. Ryan was the one who stopped engaging and started, you know what I mean, being defensive and being all scared and everything like that in the ring and fought that way. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. But look, man, it's about that time. I got to run, you know what I mean, do what I got to do. I think we addressed most of what's going on in the space right now. We got the weigh-ins tomorrow. I'll be looking forward to see that. We'll be popping up again at 3 o'clock tomorrow. That's not normal. The normal time is going to be Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. For the boxing take. And obviously, you guys know, if you don't know, ask somebody. I'll be covering the fights on Saturday. I'll be commentating on the fights. I'll be up all day from the undercard all the way to the main event. It's what I love to do. I look forward to doing this more than anything else that I do in this content creation space. So look out for the thumbnail for that. Tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. be going over hopefully the weigh-ins of that time will be done by that moment in time. We'll know what the weights are. We'll get a visual on how David Benavidez looks. We'll get a visual on how Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. looks. Those are the three weigh-ins that I'm going to be most interested in, but maybe even most importantly, I'll be dropping my predictions on what I think is going to happen to all these fights, and we'll be looking forward and rolling right into Saturday, bro. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm still trying to convince the wife to cook something crazy for me. I don't know what it is yet, because my wife is one of the best cooks in the game, bro. So I'm trying to think of what I want on the menu, bro. It's got to be something crazy, bro. I don't know, bro, because it's going to be such a great day on Saturday, man. You know what I'm saying? Probably gonna pop out the smoothies because I don't drink no more. I'm done with the drinking. I won't say I'll never drink again, but yeah, I haven't been drinking in a while, and I don't see me doing it anytime soon. Yeah, you know. But it's going to be a great time on Saturday. Guys, however many people in the building, make sure you hit the like button on your way out the door. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We didn't open up the panel today. The show ended up being what it was. Saturday, I'll probably open up the panel as well. I'll be covering the fights, and I'm probably going to be rotating people in and out, so you can come in, talk real quick, but I'm going to be covering the fights. Probably be a time limit type of situation. I'm not gonna have full panels, just one at a time. If you're watching the fight, just to kind of share what you think about. Probably in between the fights is when I open the panels. I'll be honest with you. That's what I'll do. In between each fight, I'll probably open up the panel, have people come in, speak on what they thought about in the fight, and then, you know, bring it back down when I'm commentating on the fights. I'll figure it out, but I'm gonna try to be more interactive. By the way, not really, but yeah, I apologize. We haven't been as interactive as far as panels are concerned as we've been in the past. I've been trying to keep the show down to some good time. You know what I mean? I don't want to be on these 4 or 5 hour shows like that during the week. It's difficult for me. I'm trying to be consistent in the week with the content, but at the same time, I got stuff to do. I just can't do the 4 or 5 hour marathons. Right. On Saturdays, it's a little bit different, so the panels will always be there on Saturday. But we're trying to figure it out. I appreciate you guys being patient with the channel, with the growth of the channel, and the sacrifices and the things we're doing to see the channel get bigger, right? So salute to all the new subscribers. I think we got a couple new subscribers today as well. Thank you. Appreciate to the J Pit City with the $5. Appreciate the color in the chat. Guys, like I said, hit the like button. Find that hype button. Wherever that's at, there's a hype button. Hit the hype button. Subscribe to the channel. Until the next one, it's your boy Clay, it's your boy Ray. It's that ATP Combat Media Show. And until the next one, at this point, we out.
Never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say, I got him picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime, you don't need to understand.